The Flemish Bond by Michael Botur. Read by the author. My flight from Christchurch up to Auckland is supposed to land at 3 p.m, but delays push it back till 4, then 4:30, and by the time I'm squeezing into the back of this Uber fella's souped up boyish Honda outside the terminal, I'm seriously watching the clock. If I don't get up to Warkworth for the show at 7:30, I don't get paid. It's that simple. Chuck my overnight bag in the boot, not that I'm going to even staying the night. We have to get out of Auckland Airport and into mainstream traffic by 4:35 p.m. I want to yell at Uberman, you could have squeezed into that gap in traffic behind the tanker, or squeezed into that gap or that one. It's a roundabout, man, just go for it. Ugh, I drum my thick, blunt, fighting fingers impatiently on the glass. Hopefully, the driver will take note of my scarred knuckles, my thick arms. These hands get results, so you need to hurry your ass. Uberman gets the car a few hundred metres along, but it's slow as fuck, and every car seems welded together into some sort of train. No gaps. Ugh, we're dealing with Friday afternoon traffic here. Every cunt in Auckland's on the motorway heading up to their fancy batch. We can expect this 1 hour drive to take 2.5. Maybe even more. Air New Zealand made me late, the incompetent wankers. Story of my life, honestly. People taking what they want from me. The deal is, I'm expected at the Warkworth Masonic Community Hall for 7 o'clock. 7:15 is just doable, and 7:30 is when the actual bell rings for my wrestle. If I miss the bell, I'm in breach of contract, which means no pay, which means I have paid for a flight for nothing, which means I'll miss my credit card repayments, my rent, my child support, my car could get repoed, everything could fail. We finally screech into a space and point north, and I relax a fraction and get a chance to study my driver. Hawaiian shirt, gelled black hair, messy black goatee, Jesus on the dash, Rasta, air freshener hanging from the rear view in the shape of a weed leaf. He's my age, more or less. His biceps are interesting. Bit of muscle on him. Billy, he goes, offering me an upside-down handshake over his shoulder as he changes lanes. Tone. The fella looks Tongan, I reckon, and I'm about to strike up a little small talk about Tonga's chances in the World Cup when the driver goes, "You're Tony Timaru of the Timaru 2, right?" "Oh, it's just the Timaru 1 these days," I tell him. My partner got himself a house and a spouse. I should have followed suit, really. I snort. God knows why I chose to fight for a living. Yeah, cheers for noticing, though. Always appreciate the fans. "I know my fighters," the driver says. His eyes in the rear view are serious, unlaughing. Some kind of stalker. Great. My driver suddenly overtakes a BMW, and we start leaving hotels behind us. He's 20 k's an hour over the speed limit, but it feels good to dodge the traffic. My fight is strictly 7:35 p.m. to 8:05. After that, the Warkworth Community Hall is being used by the Country Music Club at 8:30. I will need a ride back to the airport to fly home to Christchurch at 9:50 p.m. because the $110 late night flight is cheaper than paying for a meal and a mattress in Auckland. Wrestling, kickboxing, Muay Thai, bare knuckle, MMA. None of the disciplines that I fight in pay much, so I have to haggle to find an Uber taxi driver who'll do the drive cheap and fast to cut down my costs. Being a journeyman sucks. Auckland is oozing past my window now at a good pace. The driver tells me he's taking the route past Middlemore. He's going to connect with Highway 1 and then we'll be sorted. I relax 1 percentage point, but can't trust this motherfucker completely. I learned a long time ago, never to let your guard down, even when a man seems solid. "You said you know your fighters?" "Hard, I know my fighters. MMA, UFC, bare knuckle, golden gloves. I keep up. This fight tonight you're doing, Tone, it's AAWA, right?" Damn, driver knows his stuff. Yeah, Aotearoa Amateur Wrestling Association, indeed. These jokers are a lot less prestigious than they act, I gotta tell you. Bastards wouldn't even shout me a flexi ticket for the plane. Billy flits between lanes, then zooms up an on-ramp and settles in the centre of the motorway where the flow is pretty good. I look at the cars on either side to gauge whether we're slipping behind. I notice us lose a couple of places, and then Billy veers left, races up, and veers right again. Billy stares at the car in front's bumper, deadly serious. "You know, it's all bullshit behind the clam. Oh, you see this right here?" We're passing a new development called Mangrove Waters, brand new houses. The development doesn't seem to end. Linked by new black asphalt are all these McMansions held up by pillars rising up from freshly poured concrete sitting in brown dirt with sprouts of grass. At the end of the subdivision is a brick house on a tiny paddock with a dozen cows. It's completely circled by new roads. I don't know why the driver has singled out some standard brick build. Typical Dorkland expansion, eh? Nah, G, driver tells me. It's brick, bro, brick. Built to last. You know how come? No plaster, no steel. Flemish Bond. Damn, Tone, he says from the front. How'd you know about the Flemish Bond? You lay the bricks. Fuck. How do you lay the bricks? What's the word? Perpendicular? Looks like they go in different directions, but they hold together better than anything. Villia, the driver, gives me deep eye contact in the rear view. My man, you lay bricks? When I was a kid I did, a bit, yeah. A couple of my stepdads were bricklayers and it made sense to go work with them after I dropped out of school. Bricklayers, fuck man. Guess Mum had a type. Driver Villy is nodding deep and long and slow. He cuts to the right, cutting across 2 lanes. I watch the needle creep up and hit 140. I don't care if we die. My life started off shit. Let it have a symmetrical end. You got the government trying to vaccinate little kids, you got homos get married, while the rest of society crumbles. Decent masonry holds tight, my brother. Wish more people appreciated it. My driver is positively grinning into the mirror now. He thinks he's found a friend. One brick watches the other brick's back. He goes, that's why it's strong. Get a brick on its own, it can be susceptible, but 2 bricks united, nothing can hurt it. You married, Villy? No, you? Oh, I used to be married. I was an arsehole to live with. I'd live with you, bro. Guess we could watch fights on YouTube all day, am I right? He's getting a little serial killery for me now. Villy punches the dashboard, steps harder on the gas. I study the fascinating billboards up in Auckland that we don't have down south. Billboards for Wendy's, St. Pierre's Sushi, Rainbow's End. Bro, laying bricks was mean money when I was trying to get out of the hood. Wasn't much else work in Aranui, eh? Aranui? Mate, I went to Hornby High. I'm old school Christchurch too. Ah, so you're a West Side white boy, eh? East Side Bloods over here. He passes his hand over his shoulder again for a fist bump while he holds the wheel with his pinky finger. We blaze past a city-sized shopping mall called Sylvia Park and then a bend in the road where there's a tip-top ice cream factory, then a Mercedes dealership and a gigantic church and this smokestack billowing melted pink bats. Then my driver is pointing out brick buildings left, right and centre as we put Newmarket behind us. We're making progress, but he won't stop running his fucking mouth, this guy. Tells me his whole life story. After his dad got shot by the Harris gang, he tried to find an alternative dad in church elders, scout masters and rugby league coaches before settling on boxing, pretty much because he wanted to punch people constantly from the age of 14. It's gotten a fraction colder in the car. I put my bag on my lap for warmth. We're in a tangle of curled concrete bridges now. Traffic is bunching up and the Sky Tower appears between buildings. My driver looks for a different lane, but everything is slowing. Fucking spaghetti fucking junction! He thumps his door. So you like to get some punches in, I chuckle. Dude, I used to fucking box at Dutchies in Kashmir. Don't know if you know the place. Villy hauls the steering wheel left and settles in a nicely flowing rapid. He's got an anger management problem, but my man knows how to hack traffic. My phone tells me now that it's 5:05 p.m. I guess we might actually make the venue on time. I was a Dutchies boy myself, Villy mumbles. Don't recall seeing your photo on the wall. Oh, I don't let anyone take my photo unless it's marketing shit. How old are you, Villy? Maybe we're a couple of years apart. He tells me he's 34. I tell him that I'm 37. 37 being about 17 years too old to be fake fighting for minimum wage, I want to add. I couldn't stick with boxing. Not after what happened. We reach the top of the harbour bridge. We're halfway. I've got white noise in my ears. God, I've hardly thought about Dutchie's boxing gym in ages. When I was 18, 19, I doused my brain with so much weed and crack and bourbon that my memories of Dutchie's got pushed way down. Found myself smashing people on Colombo Street, jumping on the bonnet of some cop car in Cashel Mall. God, I can't even remember how half the fight started. Dutchie's was so refreshing at first. We used to have Fight Club at school with a few uppercuts and king hits, but Dutchie's was 100 times more disciplined. 1,000 times more disciplined. My mum drove me there one afternoon just before dinner time because her boyfriend had pinched my ear and I'd busted his nose, and my ma was shrieking, if I wanted to fight so bad I could at least get some exercise while doing it. She dumped me on old Coach Dutchy's driveway. Coach Dutchy came out in his white singlet and flip-flops. Springy, curly white chest hair stuck out around his tits. His eyes were 100% on me. Didn't ask to greet my mum or nothing. No fees, no paperwork, no names, no nothing. He just shoved these sweaty, manky leather gloves in my arms, tossed a roll of cotton bandage on top and told me to glove up and get in the ring. We'd sort out money later. He didn't have a wife, didn't have kids anymore, and we didn't have dads. Perfect match. The boys at the gym were skinheads, crips, gingers, Maoris. Only thing we had in common was Dutchy. Like a father, punishing our asses, making us soldiers. We had to do sit-ups while he dropped heavy leather balls on our stomachs. He'd make us skip for 10, 15, sometimes 20 minutes just to get warmed up, and he blasted these corny Irish resistance songs with violins, with big rousing choruses, because Coach's ears were warped and puffy like fungus. He wouldn't hear his shitty 1980 CD player skipping, and all us boys would be hemorrhaging sweat, looking for sympathy from the photos of shirtless boxing graduates on the wall, praying for the skipping and the CD to end so we could snatch a quick sip of soothing water. When we got in the fucking ring though, by God, we had incredible leg work from all the skipping. Plus the combos he'd forced us to practice 100 times paid off. I was shit scared going into my first golden gloves, but a 1-6-3-2 combo won me my very first fight. My mum was at the casino and she didn't see it, but my boys from the gym, they were all hugging me and shit. It was all thanks to the fitness. Dutchy's people, they had gone through famine around the Second World War and he was obsessed with self-denial. Pain makes you strong, he'd tell us. The first dude I fought saw right from the first ding of the first bell that he was in for a long, hard dance instead of a quick knockout. I made him drain himself, chasing me around the ring till he let his guard down, then I pummeled the cunt and got me a medal. Started to love Dutchies after that. Dutchy offered 3 sessions every week and I took them all up. Other fights in life, they'd brought me only trouble, but Dutchies was a place to turn your anger into gold. Every dude that turned up for training was from a different clique, but we all bowed down to the god of discipline. That discipline took a lot of forms not even related to boxing. We weren't allowed to smoke or drink or eat pizza. He would use forceps on your stomach. He whipped you with a skipping rope if you had any fat on you. If we wanted an energy snack, it had to be sunflower seeds. Some days it was zero boxing and Dutchy had us laying bricks. We built something called a heat wall where the bricks faced north to catch the sun so old Dutch could grow kumara around his house. His house being on the same section as the gym. And he was proud, don't get me wrong. For a few minutes a week, he'd be all mushy, nuzzling your hair, telling you he loved you. Then he'd whack you in the guts for not standing up straight. I boxed all through age 14, 15, 16. By 17, I was still going pretty hard. Partly I was waiting for a chance to earn a one-on-one session with Dutchy on some rainy Friday night when he would get all fatherly, dust off the camera and take a photo for the Wall of Fame. Dutchy didn't give all the boys the honour of being photographed with their medals dangling between their pecs. His head was as banged up as his ears and he would go months forgetting to take a new photo before quietly leading a boy aside, so I heard, to arrange a photo sesh. Kom en met me, jongen, he'd always go. A few days later, there'd be a picture of a boy on the wall, freckled with sweat, neck flared, chin up thrust. The heroes, the favourites. I would have given anything to have my picture on that wall. And you know what? I could have done better than those other boys up there. My photo would have looked less worried. Looked like rabbits in the headlights, a few of these guys. Anyway, one night we witnessed Coach Dutchy face down a whole carload of road knights out in the blue and orange wood smoke of a Christchurch winter night. Gangsters were calling out little Hoary from our club for a 1-out, and our coach, bro, he might have had vegetables in his head, but he knew how to win a scrap. Woo-wee. It was obvious Hoary wasn't being called for an actual 1-out. A bunch of bearded 40-year-olds were planning to stomp his face into the gravel. Dutchy went over to the car full of road knights, cocked his finger like a fucking gun, pointed at the passenger, then each of the 2 goons in the back of the hold, and he shouted, "You first, then you, yeah, come on." The little tow rag prospect who'd been calling out Hoary, well, he got the fuck back in the car real quick and disappeared. Dutchy hadn't even thrown a single punch. That was one of my last memories of Dutchie, actually. I dropped out of the gym not long after that. Dutchie died real sudden, eh? That he did. Villy goes. God, I've almost drifted off telling my story. She's after 6 p.m. now. We've moved up the map. We're passing a huge glittery spire sticking out of Takapuna. The motorway is wide and generous. Saints be praised, we may actually make it to Warkworth on time. I'm about to ask what happened to the gym, how long it kept going after I dropped out, when Villy goes, "How much you weighing these days, Tone?" "Oh, I'm weighing about 80, maybe 83. Real good fighting weight. At least you'd be nimble if you keep yourself at 80 kilos. You?" We're passing a KFC beside something called North Shore Stadium. God, I could go for some fried chicken. I hate having to stay paleo. Me? I don't weigh myself anymore, Villy tells me, swearing at a mini as he moves around it. In the mirror, I notice Villy gritting his teeth. He's pissed off about something. I'm getting a flashback of when Coach Dutchie used to weigh us boys. See, Dutch started doing weigh-ins at 7 a.m, and the gym was always cold. Nobody moving, nobody speaking. Hardly anyone showed up to those before-school sessions, actually. I would have appreciated some of that Irish music, but the first half of the day was just warming the air up, wiping the dribble off the windows. Dutchie had told me we were here to scrub the gym clean. After I'd mopped and hung the knuckle bandages on the clothesline to dry, he had me stripped naked and stand on the scales. And then Coach Dutchie asked me, "Do you think you're weighing more if you were having a piece of wood on you, yes?" What wood?" I asked him. Wood? Sounded weird, man. Dutchie reached between my legs. I froze. Dutchie peeled the foreskin off my diddle and started stroking it. He was close enough that a few of his chest hairs tickled my arm. I felt static electricity. He got down on his knees and put his crusty lips on my cock and moved his tongue and his gums. Then he pulled his mouth off and told me to jack myself till I got a stiff cock. I told him I was scared. "Son, I will knock you out lickety-split. You're doing what I'm telling you, yeah?" So I did what he said. I could have smashed just about any cunt in Christchurch back then. Anyone except Dutchie. The car is silent as we put Auckland behind us. We gobble up farmland with mist settling on it like bedsheets. Overpasses, roadside turkeys, sheep, snow planet, Silverdale. I grab the headrest of the passenger seat that's in front of me and I crush it, my fingers digging into the foam. I feel like digging someone's eyeball out tonight. I'm pissed about everything. These McMansions that we're hooning past, fuck those people. Fuck their luck, fuck their privilege. They never got pulled out of the mainstream for some fucking pedo private photo session. And all those homeowners in Millwater that we're passing, Auckland's most expensive development, all them cunts, I bet they all had daddies and mummies to give them a fucking checkbook and say, "Here you go, son, take as much support as you want. My support's bottomless." Me? You know what my life's about? My life's about laying bricks and taking hits. I can't get a straight-o job. I've got convictions for God, you name it. Fucking GBH, assaulting a female, assault with a blunt instrument, armed robbery, drug utensils. Putting your body on the line for a dime. This world didn't give me many alternatives, did it? As our car comes up to some tunnel near Puhoi, we pass under a bank of cameras. "What's with all the photos?" I ask Villy. I don't like photos. "Oh, they snag your license plate. Government's always watching citizens, bro. Fucking hate being photographed. Dutch the bastard, he took..." Yeah, never mind what he took. I don't say anything more while we're in the tunnel. We emerge and we race past the Puhoi turn-off. There's a billboard saying that you can get oysters and chips for $10. I could use a feed. No time for a feed tonight though. Pay the driver, do my fight, get dressed after, scoff some sunflower seeds, hop a taxi back to Auckland Airport, catch the late night flight down south, eat white bread and margarine to balance the books, keep my phone in my hand until somebody phones me and the next gig lands. "Tone, he took photos of you too, I'm guessing," Villy the Uber driver goes. "He said he was weighing you, he started taking your photo and shit, putting his fingers on you. Mind your business, Villy. The sign says that Warkworth is just 35 k's away. The time is 6:49. The sky is indigo. Hurry, driver, hurry." You know, I quit the gym, God, 2003-ish, Villy goes. "Good for you, Villy. Let me finish. He's looking at me hard in the rear view now. Can't be long till we hit Warkworth. May as well hear the weirdo out. Dude seems to think we're some kind of equals or we got some bloody bond or something. So I dropped out of my apprenticeship. Drinking, burgs, fucking gangs, tone, that was the life. Anyway, one night I got real wasted on BZP. Remember that shit? Remember BZP? It's just after the 90s ended, cuz. I used to push bike everywhere back then. I don't give a fuck. My bike got nicked. I just boosted another one, you know. Anyway, I wound up at Dutchy's house when I was real baked one night. This was like 4 months after I'd stopped showing up to training because Dutchy had taken those bloody photos of me for the supposed wall of fame. On the scales, of course, butt naked as you do. And he tried the old got wood trick on me too, the unoriginal cunt. So anyway, it was summer when I biked round to his house for a, bit of an unannounced catch-up. I'll never forget it. Cicadas in your fucking ears, bugs crawling on the light on his porch. And I'm high as a kite, right, Tone? I pedalled from Aranui all the way to Kashmir on autopilot. It's 8 o'clock on a Saturday night. I remember because they were drawing the lotto and one of my aunties had my birthday as her numbers. But you don't want to... Yeah, sorry man, I shouldn't have... Yeah, never mind this whole story. Villy, finish the story. Villy matches my eyes in the mirror. I can feel the car slowing slightly. This better be good. So anyway, I bang on his door, and Dutchy is real happy to invite us into his warm lounge, even though I'm looking rough as guts. I've got an NBA singlet on plus gumboots. I'm looking terrible, league shorts. Dutchy lays 2 cocktails on the coffee table and sits beside me on the couch as if we're on a date. The movie was E.T., I'll never forget that. Classic Saturday night family shit in front of a nice, nice fucking glowing screen, nice drink, everything's happy endings. A sign says that Warkworth is 5 kilometres away now. The clock has just spilled past 7. We're actually going to make this. Look, God knows why, but Dutchy got a stiff from E.T. He was real engrossed in the movie, the fucking pedo. And it was only when the ads came on that he put his hand on the back of my head and kind of nudged my face down towards his cock. I whacked him with a left hook to the jaw, of course, all while sitting down, and he was stunned, right, sitting there in his old man robe. I didn't want to get a hiding, so I put the cunt in a sleeper hole, wrapped my legs round him, lights out, old man. Then I crawled on top and kneeled on his shoulders and held a cushion on his face. Must have choked him for a good 10 minutes, eh? Made it look like an accident. Then I went through this box under Coach's bed and found all photos of diddles and boys crying and standing on the scales naked and shit. Burned those fucking photos in his fireplace, eh? You didn't see it in the news? I don't read Christchurch news. I don't look back. Anyway, Tony Timaru, here's Warkworth. We did it, my bro. We've been through a couple of streets and find a parking lot. The Warkworth Masonic Community Hall is a brick building beside a low, muddy river. Palm trees and wrought iron lamps and pavement stones. Cars everywhere, bass and treble and voices on the breeze. I'm a good guy, I tell my driver. I'm a babyface. Just so you know. In the ring, I mean. I'm not one of the bad ones. I pay my driver, pull my gear from the trunk, head for the green room. 7:13 p.m. A respectable time, all things considered. Look, cheers for the ride. I'll find a taxi back, I tell Villy as I slam shut the trunk of his car and prepare to go put my body on the line. Look, I don't expect you to wait for me, man. Laters. The crowd, they cheer and whistle as I stride through them. Amateur wrestling brings joy and escapism to your life if you think about it. I replay this charade that I've done over and over. Tony Timaru, the superhero. People rip my epaulettes off, firstly, and then they rip off the cuffs of my shirt and then some of my buttons. They take souvenirs. Nothing new. People have always taken a piece of me. The Beehive's my enemy. He's a heel in a beekeeper suit whose signature move is the sting. Backstage, we plan our battle and we synchronise a couple of choke slams and we go out and smash each other around the ring for half an hour for these people's delight, for their whoops and fucking applause while they eat popcorn and spill it all over the floor and guzzle soda. After our fight, everybody poses for photos with me. I escape after 4 minutes, sweaty, struggling to breathe, panic attack. I've knocked fans unconscious in the past. Can't always control my fist when I get anxious. Guess I'm anxious all the time these days. In the parking lot beside the salty river, a shitty Uber is waiting for me. Out in the dark, glow coming from inside the vehicle. An elbow is pointing out the driver's side window. The radio is playing Bob Marley. And the driver, well, he's wearing a Hawaiian shirt. Billy is giving the east side with his fingers and he's grinning, waiting to take me home. See, this hall is built of 120mm bricks. I knock on the masonry and wink at him. Call it shitty, call it shabby, but the Warkworth Masonic Community Hall has stood since 1895 because nothing can bring down the Flemish Bond.